The President of the Republic of Kenya, Dr. William Ruto, is a very smart politician. If he notices that you are not educated and you are not conversant with current issues and you don't read, that man will lie to you in a very confident manner and you will think that he is the Messiah that has been sent to rescue you. William Ruto is very intelligent and he has read the minds of people and he knows how to play around with their minds. That is why I think he rose to become the president. He just tried once and he became the president. The guy does an interview with Dr. ORI. Dr. ORI, who is a very smart guy, and the president provides very misleading information. The facts are bare in books. We have the facts all over, but the president anaongea uongo na Dr. ORI anamwangalia, and I think he looked at him and he said, this is a president with security, siwezi mwambia kitu. Lakini ni uongo. For example, the president says that the dollar came down from 160 to 129 because we...
Let me ask you, why don't you ask me, why has the dollar come down from where it was to 129? It is because we are borrowing less.
Now, this is what happened. And actually, I don't blame William Ruto. I blame Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is the one who put us in this problem. Na watu sasa nataka mnielewe. Tafadhali. You see, in 2014, when Uhuru had just become the president, I think that man foresaw that he will not be president in 2024. Okay? He foresaw another person will be president. And what did he do? He went to the foreign market and borrowed $2 billion. That's roughly 200 to 250 billion Kenya shillings. And that money, when he borrowed it, much of it was stolen. Now, listen, this one is based on the reports, facts and figures that Jimmy Wanjigi usually shares. Na uwa mimi nafuatilia Jimmy Wanjigi sana. Much of the money was stolen. And he knew, Uhuru Kenyatta knew that in 2024, he will not be president. Another person will be president. Now, in 2024, William Ruto is now the president. And the loan is maturing in 2024 when William Ruto is president. Now we are supposed to pay back the money that Uhuru borrowed. And Kenya did not have enough money to pay back the money that Uhuru borrowed. And investors, wenye walikuwa wameweka dollars hapa, they started fearing that their money would get lost. That is why they started withdrawing their dollars from our market. Wakatoa dollars zao, wakapeleka nje. And when we had a scarcity of dollars, now that is why the dollar rose from 129, it was even 125. And it went to 160. That was a record high that we have ever recorded in history. And so what did William Ruto do? William Ruto actually was very confused. Actually, to rumi at William Ruto, he was very confused. What do I do? These people are withdrawing their dollars. The shilling is weakening. The economy is going bad. The person to blame first is Uhuru Kenyatta, who borrowed that money and misappropriated it. Munanipata? Wakiwa na Ruto. So, William Ruto akaangalia akaona, the best thing to do is to borrow more money to pay back the money that Uhuru borrowed. Because hiyo pesa Kenya hatukuwa nayo. And you know, David Ndii was the economist of the country during that time. Wakaona hatuna pesa to pay back this loan. Na tayari economy inaharibika. Shilingi imeanguka 160. Tufanye namna gani? William Ruto akakaa chini. And I think that's when he started talking to Raila. William Ruto was helpless. So they went to the foreign market. Wakaomba loan nyingine. Kwenda kuomba loan nyingine kukuja kulipa hii juu hatukuwa na pesa. Now they went and borrowed 1.5 billion and then they came and paid back part of the much of the $2 billion. Sasa vile walilipa, investors wenye walikuwa wametoa dola zao kwa market wakaona, Kenya wamelipa deni yao. We can now be confident that they can pay debts. Sasa wakaanza kurudisha dola zao. Now they brought a lot of dollars and the dollars flooded the market until the value of the dollar now started going down significantly. Na the value of dollar ikatoka 160 ikarudi mpaka 129. Na hapo ndio imekwama. Na kuambia kama mtu mwenye na earn dollars na nimefuatilia dollars na jua kitu inafanyika na nimefuatilia watu kama Jimmy Wanjigi wakiongea hii maneno, I have also been reading it. That is what stabilized the shilling to 129. So wakati ilibaki pale 129, it means that now we have 1.5 billion yenye tunafaa tufanye nini? Tulipe. Now, this is the thing. When they went to borrow 1.5 billion the interest rate in the global market was very high, ilikuwa 10.37. So hiyo ndio iliongeza sasa value ya hiyo pesa ikaenda juu kuliko hata ile 2 billion yenye tulikuwa tumekopa. So pesa yenye tunafaa tulipe bado ni mingi zaidi, lakini Ruto alistabilize nini? The economy. So hapo ndio economy ilikuwa stabilize. Hapo ndio shilingi ilikuja ikarudi 129. Shilingi haikurudi 129 because we stopped borrowing. No, we borrowed and we have borrowed and we are still borrowing. But because the president is smart, that man is very smart. Anajua watu wengi hamsomi. Anajua watu wengi hamfuatilii maneno ya economics. Anajua wase wengi ni madanda. So akikuja pale, Dr. King'ori is interviewing him, and I know Dr. King'ori knows this, and he confidently says we have stabilized the dollar because we are not borrowing, and people fall for it. President Dr. William Samoei Ruto, you are a very smart politician. I've never seen a very confident, smart guy like that. Unaweza changanya mtu. Actually, I believe that is why you became president. Unajua kuchanganya watu. And then, another thing that I noticed, ile yenye aliongea kuhusu Hustler Fund.
I now have 900,000 people who we have their credit record. We have their track record. They have been borrowing and paying for the last 2 years. Now they have reached the limit. We can only give them up to 150,000. We want you to give them 200,000, 300,000, 500,000. Use this track record of theirs for you to lend to them. They have.
The Hustler Fund is like
it's like an incubation. An incubation.
Akasema ati banks have locked out a lot of people. A lot of people cannot borrow from banks, and that is why now they started giving Hustler Fund. Now if they give you Hustler Fund, they will improve your credit score, and if you go to the bank will look at how you paid Hustler Fund and they give you money. William ni mjanja. William Samoei Ruto is a very intelligent person, and he knows the people he's talking to. He knows a lot of you are ignorant, you don't read. And so when he says that you will build your credit score using Hustler Fund, and now you can go to the bank and borrow money, let me tell you, banks are not owned by the government. Banks are private institutions. And when banks want to lend you money, huwa wanaangalia what income do you have? Ni pesa ngapi unalipwa kwa kazi yako? And if you have this money that you are earning, what assets do you have? If you have assets, how have you been repaying your loan? Now, after the bank has looked at that, it then calculates how much money you can get and how much money you can repay. Banks operate like that. Banks do not look at how you borrowed digital money on phone and how you paid some 5,000 Kenya shillings Hustler Fund and then they give you money. They cannot and they will not, and it can never happen in the history of this country. It will never. But William Samoei Ruto, being a smart person, the way he is, comes here and anakuambia, we are building your credit score. And now you can go to the bank and tell them that you have been paying Hustler Fund. You will never be given a loan by the bank. William Ruto. And in fact, let me tell you something about Hustler Fund. Hustler Fund has in fact increased the number of people who should be going to CRB. The president says that he has removed a lot of people from CRB and he's improving their credit score. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of people now should be in CRB and a lot of people now cannot pay Hustler Fund. In fact, more than 50%, there is a very high failure rate of Hustler Fund repayment. So a lot of people are not paying Hustler Fund. That means that people have even destroyed their credit score even further. So Hustler Fund is a total failure that we don't want to accept. Hiyo kitu imeflop vibaya sana. But because he wants to improve his name, and you know he knows 2027 is coming. Na huyu jamaa anataka kujenga jina yake, anasema alileta Hustler Fund na inasaidia watu kujenga credit score. Yani, the president provides very misleading information, and because we are people who don't read and we don't want to question, you think that he's speaking the truth. That is not the truth. And I am not a one-term person or two-term or what. I'm speaking the facts as they are on the ground. But, just allow me to talk about the last thing that I looked at, and then I said, William Ruto ni mjanja. Bro, huyu jamaa ni mjanja. The guy says that he wants in...
You know, that is why I am saying...
Yes.
In the next 70 years, God willing, with the systems that I have set in place, we should be able to build 28,000 new kilometers of tarmac in Kenya. We've built 20,000 for the last 60 years. We can build another 28,000 in the next 7 years. That is how transformative it is.
He wants in the next 7 years, because he knows he's going to become president, and I hope he becomes president, because I always wish people well. If his aim is to become president for the next 7 years, well and good. And he says in the next 7 years, I want to build 28,000 kilometers of road in the next 7 years. If you also don't check facts, you may not understand what William Ruto was saying. You know, in 60 years since independence up to now, the country has about 20 to 22,000 kilometers of roads. I think that is what we have, 22,000. In 60 years, that is what we have managed to build. 60 years. Now, the president is here telling us that in 7 years, he's going to build more than we have ever built for the last 60 years. And the economy is struggling. We are paying debts. We are struggling with a Eurobond that he took with a very high interest rate. The recurrent expenditure is taking up the largest chunk of the money that is coming from the exchequer. And you look at it and you say, is the president speaking the truth? But again, unajiuliza, anaambia nani? And then you remember, he's telling these people who don't read, people who don't investigate current affairs, people who don't check facts and figures, and then you just say no. Let the president say. And that's when you understand that when he says, in the next 6 months, we will do this and that. In the next 4 months, we will do this and that. You know, he is very intelligent, very smart, and he knows that when he speaks to an ignorant population, they are going to be receptive and they will praise him. Now, I'm not doing this video to criticize the president. I know Subaru boys are just very ready. They have a lot of fuel. They don't have anybody to take. So the Subaru boys can be here anytime. So I don't want Subaru boys in my home. They have come here once and I don't want Subaru boys here. But what I just wanted to say is that the dollar did not stabilize because we stopped borrowing. The dollar stabilized because we borrowed more to pay the people we had borrowed, and now we have a high interest rate that we are supposed to pay. And Hustler Fund did not improve credit score of people. In fact, Hustler Fund has a very high default rate. A lot of people are defaulting. They are not paying that money and their credit score is going even worse. They should be in CRB and that thing is a total flop. Let the president just accept it. And finally, the president will not manage to build 28,000 kilometers of road in the next 7 years. That is an impossibility. We are paying a lot of debt. So as you listen to a politician, not just the president, if you listen to your MCA, you listen to your senator, the governor, and anybody talking to you, and they are promising big things and issuing big terms, like now he was saying that the leather, we are producing more leather and we are going to produce more shoes, and the manufacturing expenses in Kenya are very expensive because of high electricity. So let nobody lie to you that we are going to improve manufacturing. Those are just some of the misleading statements that I heard from the president, and then I said, and Dr. Kingori is a very smart guy. He knows the president is trying to give some false information, but because you know he's trying to protect his reputation and he's trying to play safe, you can't just correct the president like that. But for some of us, we have to talk casually down here and give each other facts and figures. Thank you for listening to me. This is Gidi Akali, and we shall meet again in another video. Peace.